sensation. Moving all the people to the moving all the people to the moving all the people to the party sensation. Moving all the people to the moving all the people to the moving all the people to the party sensation. Moving all the people to the moving all the people to the moving all the people to the party sensation.
Greetings, loyal subscribers and honoured guests. Way back in the early days of this channel, I made a short-lived series called Nintendo Night, where I would talk about some of my favourite games for the various Nintendo platforms. Back then I was making my videos by shooting the screen with an iPhone 3GS, and basically making it up as I went along. These videos are rather embarrassing to watch nowadays, so I have decided to remake some of them, starting with the one I did about a rather overlooked GBA title called Racing Gears Advance. I don't have a huge collection of GBA cartridges, around 24 or so, but I am going to cover more games for the system later on, so I have started this new series called Advance Warning. With the help of my Retron 5, I will be able to bring you some nice clear footage of the games I'm covering. So let's get on with taking another look at Racing Gears Advance. I remember reading about this game in one of the magazines that I used to buy around the time of its release, and thinking it looked really cool in the screenshots. I love top-down races like Championship Sprints, Micro Machines and Circuit Breakers, so one look at the little cars racing around nicely detailed tracks planted the game firmly on my radar, and taking a bit of a gamble, I pre-ordered a copy. I remember it was fairly late in the life of the GBA. The Legend of Zelda Minish Cap had just been released not too long before it, and my imported Japanese DS Fat had recently turned up from Nixang. So I ended up playing most of those two games on the superior screen of the DS compared to the dingy old screen of my GBA SP AGS 001 model that I owned at the time. From the moment I put the game in and fired it up for the first time, I was not disappointed. The game felt immediately responsive and intuitive to control, with a nice little power slide that could be performed by lifting off the acceleration button and hammering back on as you turned into a corner. The graphics are nice and bright, and compared to most games on the GBA, they are very nicely detailed indeed. Little things like the way the trees move in the breeze, and the way your car's suspension reacts when going over cobblestones or a wooden bridge are great little touches that help set Racing Gears Advance apart from the average crapware that was sadly so common on the system. The tracks are pretty diverse in their nature and consist of scenic rural areas like vineyards, treacherous snowy mountain tracks, shipyards and even an active volcano. Backing up the graphics is some very strong audio as well, particularly the music. Again, music of this quality is fairly rare on the GBA, and the actual tunes remind me of SID music from the C64. It is most definitely a retro chiptune style, and even features some voice samples in tunes such as the catchy People Mover. Sound effects are decent enough as well, but are a bit overshadowed by the music. There's a variety of skidding effects, explosions and the like, which all add to the overall quality of the game. So that's the presentation addressed, but let's now focus on the gameplay. Initially the game is a lot of fun indeed as you bomb around the circuits, building up money reserves from both pickups on the track itself and from winnings after placing in the races. Each cup, of which there are 5, consists of 5 races, so there's a very decent 25 tracks in total in the game. At the end of a championship, the points are tallied and the final placing revealed. If you come first, then you get to move on to the next championship. Anything less than first and you will have to try again. You are never actually faced with a game over screen though, which is quite nice. Before each race, you can take a look at the map, see roughly how difficult the track is, check surface types and the weather. These last two things are important because if you were to go racing on snow with your slicks equipped, or if you had dry tyres when it was raining, you would really struggle to control your car and also maintain a decent speed in the race. So as you earn cash in the events, you should also be buying new types of tyre. That's not all though, your car itself is upgradable. You can level up the engine, the turbo, the armour, the brakes and finally the weapon cells. As you progress through the different cups, you will discover that it's absolutely necessary to upgrade your car in order to remain competitive. You can also take damage as well, which can get pretty expensive to fix. Finally, there are many different weapons to buy in the game. At first you just get access to nitrous and basic missiles, but with each new cup that's unlocked you will also be allowed to buy more and more types of weapon. Later types include mines that do a significant amount of damage to anyone unlucky enough to drive over them, and heat-seeking missiles. In addition to weaponry, each character has their own innate special ability as well. One of them can steal cash by bumping into other cars. Another one can mess up your steering temporarily, which can be infuriating. That brings me to my one major problem with the game. By the time you get to around the 3rd championship, the majority of the weapons will have been unlocked, and the computer AI stacks acting like a complete bastard. Within the first few seconds of a race, it's quite likely that you will have been shot, spun out, run into several mines, and bashed into for good measure. A decent race can easily be ruined by the overly aggressive opponents, and it can become infuriating indeed. You can go back to previous championships, grind for more money, and gradually level your cars so that you can then easily win the current championship, so at least you won't get stuck, but this does make the game feel like a bit of a grind at times. Despite these few problems though, Racing Gears Advance still stands out as one of the best third-party games released for the GBA, yet it's one that I never ever hear anyone talking about. When I checked the price for this review, I was surprised to find that there were copies available on Amazon.co.uk for around 28 quid. That's not an insignificant amount by any means, but I was thinking it would be worth at least 50 quid at the absolute minimum. If you get the opportunity, you really should check this game out, either through emulation or by spending a bit on a genuine copy. Despite the frustrating gameplay in the latter stages of the championship mode, it remains a lot of fun to play, and is a title that I still return to frequently today. I'll be back with another episode of Advance Warning in the not too distant future, as well as bringing all the other videos that I've been promising for a while. In the meantime, take care.